Hello guys, welcome to another video here on the pre-security learning path, and we're currently done with the Linux fundamentals and we're going into the Windows fundamentals, and today we're starting with the Windows fundamentals part 1. Without further ado, let's hop onto it. Over here on the Windows fundamentals today, in this part 1, we're going to be covering we'll start our journey learning about the Windows desktop and the NTFS file system, the UAC, and the control panel, and more. So without further ado, let's start with task 1. And before we kick off, I'll just start the machine and then we'll start. Now you have that the Windows operating system OS is a complex product with many system files, utilities, settings, and features, etc. This model will attempt to provide a general overview of just a handful of what makes up the Windows OS. Okay, we will navigate the user interface, make changes to the system, etc. Now, the content is aimed at those who wish to understand and use the Windows OS on a more comfortable level. Now, we will launch the attached virtual machine, which is currently loading, and the virtual machine should open with the web browser. If you want to access the virtual machine via remote desktop, use the credential below. IP machine will be the machine IP will be this one, loading in 9 seconds. User administrator and password let me in 23 123. Yeah. So we're going to be logging that out with a virtual machine, I guess. Now, accept the certificate when prompted, and you should be logged into the remote system now. Note, the virtual machine may take up to 3 minutes to load. Read above and start the virtual machine. We're starting that, and let's complete that for now. And our IP address is ready, and waiting for the virtual machine to be ready. Okay. We'll start with task 2. Now, Windows editions. Now, the Windows operating system has a long history dating back to 1985, and currently it is the dominant operating system in both home use and corporate networks. Because of this, Windows has always been targeted by hackers and malware writers. And the Windows XP was a popular version of Windows and has a long-running Microsoft and had a long running. Yes. Now, Microsoft announced Windows Vista, which was a complete overhaul of the Windows operating system. There were many issues with Windows Vista. Now, it wasn't received well by Windows users, and it was quickly phased out. Now, when Microsoft announced the end of life date for Windows XP, many customers panicked. Corporations, hospitals, etc. scrambled and tested the next viable Windows version, which was Windows 7, against many other hardwares and devices. Now, vendors had to work against the clock to ensure their product worked with Windows 7 for their customer. If they didn't, their customer had to break the agreement and find another vendor that upgraded their product to work with Windows 7. It was a nightmare for many, and Microsoft took note of it. Now, Windows 7, as quickly as it was released soon after, was marked with an end of support date. Windows 8.x came and left, and it was short-lived like Vista. Now, then arrived Windows 10, which is the current Windows operating system version for desktop computers. Windows 10 comes in 2 flavors, Home and Pro. You can read the difference between the Home and Pro here. Okay. Even though we didn't talk about servers, the current version of the Windows operating system for servers is Windows Server 2019. And then many critics like to bash on Microsoft, but they have made long strides to improve the usability and security with each new version of Windows. Okay, now note, the Windows edition for the attached virtual machine is Windows Server 2019 standard, as seen in the system information. Now, update: as of June 2021, the Microsoft announced the retirement dates for the Windows 10 here. Now, Microsoft will continue to support at least one Windows 10 semi-annual channel until October 14, 2025. As of October 5th, 2021, Windows 11 now is the current Windows operating system for end users. Read more about Windows 11 here. Now, what encryption? Let's answer the question for tax 2. And by the way, our virtual machine here is ready. We can always quickly type about so we can see what we have here. About, and let's see. Okay, so we're currently having device name. Looks like this is a question for the Tryhackme. So we're currently Windows specification. We're currently having the edition Windows Server 2019 standard. The version is 1809. This was when it was installed and so on. So let's just get on to what encryption can you enable on Pro that you can't enable in Home. Encryption. What encryption? That should be. Alright, Windows 10 comes in two flavors, Home and Pro. You can read the difference between the Home and Pro here. I think they want us to read this here. Answer should be there, I believe. What encryption can you enable on Pro and you can't enable on Home encryption? That's Windows 11, Pro and Home. Let me increase this a little bit so you can see. So Windows 11, Windows 10, Pro, Home. Let's see encryption. If you turn on device encryption, only authorized individuals will be able to access your device and data. It is both here on Pro and Home. So the only encryption I think is the first one. Let's see here. If your device is lost or stolen, BitLocker puts everything on lockdown so no one else can access your system or data. So it's available on Pro, but it's not available on Home. So I believe that should be the answer. And then that should be BitLocker. Incorrect. We have the answer correct. All right. Now let's head on to tax 3. Tax 3 here, the desktop GUI, graphical user interface. Let's get it. Now the Windows desktop, aka the graphical user interface, or GUI in short, is the screen that welcomes you once you log onto your system. Let's close this so that you can see. All right. So we're getting here now. Is a screen that welcomes you once you log into a Windows 10 machine. Now, traditionally, you need to pass the login screen first. The login screen is where you need to enter valid account credentials, usually a username and password of a pre-existing Windows account on that particular system or in the Active Directory environment. Now, if it is a domain joined machine. Okay. Basically, let me see. Okay, I have to reduce this. Reconnect. Okay. Now, the above screenshot is an example of a typical Windows desktop. Each component that makes up the GUI is explained briefly below. Now we have the desktop, which is number 1, which is here. Basically here, the desktop. Okay. Now let's go over the desktop. The desktop is where you will have shortcuts to programs, folders, files, etc. These icons will either be well organized in a folder sorted alphabetically or scattered randomly with no specific organization on the desktop. Like we see the recycle bin, Google, Wireshark. Now, in either case, these items are typically placed on the desktop for quick access. Now, the look and feel of the desktop can be changed to suit your liking by right-clicking anywhere on the desktop. A context menu will appear, and this menu will allow you to change the size of the desktop icons, specify how you want to arrange them, copy and paste items to the desktop, and create new items such as folder, shortcuts, or text document. Like if we right click here, we can see view, sort by, The view here is if you want it to be in large icon, small icon, and so on. New, if you want to create new folder shortcuts and so on. Then display and personalized options. Now, under display settings, you can make changes to the screen resolution and orientation in case you have multiple computer screens. You can make configuration to multiple screen setups here. Okay, under here the display settings. Now, note, in a remote desktop session, some of the display settings will be disabled. Okay, some of the display. Okay, that's when we click on the. Let's click here on the display settings. Okay, just like we can see here. Now, you can also change the wallpaper. Like you see here, the desktop settings can't be changed from a remote section. So, now, you can also change the wallpaper by selecting personalize. All right, under personalize, you can change the background image to the desktop to the desktop, change fonts, themes, color, and scheme, etc. Like we saw previously. Over here on personalize, you can change all those. Okay, now the start menu, that's number 2, I believe. Yes, I won't be scrolling up to the start menu. And now the start menu, which is if I click on this Windows icon here, this is the start menu. Now, in the previous versions of Windows, the word start was visible at the bottom left corner of the desktop GUI around this area. In modern versions of Windows, such as Windows 10, the word start doesn't appear anymore. So it's no longer here, sorry. Now, but rather a Windows logo is shown instead, like we see here. Now, even though the look of the start menu has changed, its overall purpose is the same. Now, the start menu provides access to all the apps, programs, files, utility tools, etc. that are most useful. Click on the Windows logo, the start menu will open just like we've opened here. Now, the start menu is broken up into sections, see below. Now, the first, second and third, let's see the explanation here. Now, this section of the start menu provides quick shortcuts to actions that you can perform within your account or login section, such as making changes to your user account, lock your screen, or signing out of your account. This section here, I believe, this section here. All right, now lock your screen or signing out of your account. Now, other shortcuts specified to your account are your document icon. Let's see, yes, your document icon folder and picture folder pictures icon. Lastly, the gear cog icon will take you to the settings screen, as you can see here. Okay, picture settings now, and the power icon will allow you to disconnect from a remote desktop section, shut down the computer, or restart the computer. Because if you click here on the power button, you get these options here. Okay, now in the below image, you can see what each of the icons represent. To expand these sections, click on the icons that resembles a hamburger at the top, which is this. So if I click here, it disappears. If I click here, it brings it out. Okay, now number 2. Now this is the section we're talking about now. This particular section. Now this section will show all recently added apps or programs at the top, and all the installed apps programs that are configured to appear in the start menu. Okay, now in this section you will also see the apps programs will be listed in alphabetical order. Each letter will have its own section. See below, so you can see S, W. If I scroll up, okay, this is just the most recent. So it's basically lists everything in alphabetical order. So these are the apps and the installed programs that are in the computer. Okay, just like you can see here. Now, in the above image, the first box is where the recently added apps or programs will appear, which is here. All right. The second box is where all the installed apps and programs will appear, which is over here. Okay. Note, in your virtual machine, Google Chrome will not show up as recently added program anymore. Let's see here. Oh, okay. We don't have it here actually, so I was mistaken. So recently added will be on the top, but it doesn't show. So let's go on. So it's already let us know that in our virtual machine Google Chrome will not show up as recently added program anymore. Okay, if you have a long list of installed app or programs, you can jump to a particular section in the list by clicking on the letter headings to launch an alphabet grid. See below. Okay, now number 3, the right side of the start menu. On the right side, which is this part, the right side of the start menu is where you would find icons for specific apps / programs or utilities. These icons are known as tiles. Some tiles are added to this section by default. If you right click on any of the tiles, you guessed it, a menu will appear, like if you do here. Okay, a menu will appear to allow you to perform more actions on the selected tile, such as resizing the tile, or pinning from the start menu, view its properties, etc. See below. Okay, just like we did here. Now, apps programs can be added to this start menu section by right clicking the app / program and select pin to start. See below. So if I come here and right click here, if I right click on this particular app, let me see. Okay, here you see move and pin to start. Okay, now the taskbar. The taskbar, some of the components are enabled and visible by default. Now the toolbar, which is 6, let's see, I can't go over there, but let's just continue. So the toolbar, which is number 6 in the picture selections, for example, was enabled for demonstration purposes. Now if you are like me and want to disable some of these components, you can right click on the taskbar to bring up the context menu that will allow you to make changes. So the taskbar is this area. If I right click here, it brings the toolbar and so on and so forth. Okay, let's continue. Now any apps or programs, folders, files, etc. that you open or start will appear on the taskbar. So if I click on Chrome, it will appear on the taskbar. Okay, now hovering over the icon will provide a preview thumbnail like this. Let's open this folder part, and if I should minimize this and hover my icon here, it will just give us a preview. Okay, now hovering over the icon will provide a preview thumbnail along with a tool tip. Now the tool tip is handy if you have many apps or programs open, such as Google Chrome, and you wish to find the instance. You need to find which instance of Google Chrome is the one you need to bring to focus. More like if I have multiple tabs here on Google Chrome open. Now when you close any of these items, they will disappear from the taskbar unless you explicitly pinned it to the taskbar. Alright, now the notification area. Now the notification area, which is typically located at the bottom right of the windows, which is around this area, is where the date and time are displayed. Other icons possibly visible is the area. In this area is the volume icon, network / wireless icon, to name a few. Now icons can be either added or removed from the notification area in the taskbar settings. So basically we have this particular battery bar and dates. If you want to add more, you can go to this taskbar, then click on taskbar settings. Okay, now from there scroll down to the notification area section to make changes. Okay, notification area, and that's it. Now here are Microsoft brief documents for the start menu and notification area. Tip: you can right click any folder, file, or app / program or icon to view more information or perform other actions on the clicked item. Like the Google Chrome, if I right click on here, you can see more options here if I wanted to work on them. Sorry. Now let's quickly answer the questions below. Which selection will hide or disable the search box? Okay, let's go straight to show task view button. Search. Okay. This is it. I'm sorry. Now hidden, show search icon, show search box. So which selection will hide or disable the search box? It should be hidden. that goes it. Which selection will hide or disable the tax view button? Now show tax view button, that should be it. Which one would disable it? Which selection will hide or disable? That should be it. Show. Once I unclick this, they should be able to hide it. Show tax view button, and that should be it. Correct. Now beside clock and network, what other icon is visible in the notification area? Like beside the clock, here we have here, and the network, I think it's the battery. Let's just go to taskbar settings, and let's go to notification. Where's notification? Let's go to notification, taskbar button, notification. In notification area, select which icons appear on the taskbar. Let's click on that. I think volume. Which other icon is visible? It's probably Action Center. Let's see. Action Center. Yes, guys, it was Action Center. So I had to Google that. It was Action Center. So let's just speed up to tax 4. Okay, let's close this. Okay, Action Center. So I had to Google it. I had to search that to see what that was. And tax 4, the file system. Now the file system used in modern version of Windows is the new technology file system, the NTFS, or simply NTFS. Okay, now before NTFS there was FAT16, FAT32 file allocation table, and the HPFS, high performance file system. Now you still see FAT partitions in use today. For example, you typically see FAT partitions in USB devices, micro SD cards, etc., but traditionally not on personal Windows computers or laptops or Windows servers. Now, the NTFS is known as a journaling file system. In case of failure, the file system will automatically repair the folders or file on disks using information stored in a log file. Now, this function is not possible with FAT. Now, the NTFS addresses many of the limitations of the previous file system, such as supports file larger than 4 gig, sets specific permissions to folders and files. We have folder and file compression. We have encryption, which is encryption file system, or EFS. Now, if you're running Windows, what is the file system your Windows installation is using? You can check the properties by right-clicking of the drive. You can check the properties by right-clicking, of course. Properties of the drive your operating system is installed on. Typically, the C drive. Mine is the C drive. I think if I open up this area, here we'll go over straight to this PC, and we can see here the drive and devices and drive. So it's basically the C drive, as you can see here. Okay. All right. Sorry, wanted to see the NFTs. Now right click the TSPC, go to this, right click on properties, and head straight to the file system. So the file system here is NTFS. All right, now you can read Microsoft official documentation on FAT, HPFS, and NTFS here. Now let's speak briefly on some features that are specific to the NTFS. On NTFS volumes, you can set permissions that grant or deny access to files and folders. Now, the permissions are full control, modify, read and execute, list folder contents, read and write. Now, the below image lists the meaning of each permission on how it applies to a file and folder. Credit is to Microsoft. So the permissions here, the read permits viewing of viewing and listing of files and subfolders. We can go through this later. Okay, now how can you view the permissions for a file or folder? Right click the file or folder you want to check for permissions. From the context menu, select properties. With the properties, click the security tab, and in the group or usernames list, select the user, computer or group whose permission you want to view. Now in the below image, you can see the permissions for the users group for the Windows folder. So let's say it opened up the Windows folder under the PC. Right click on properties, click on security, and over here you can see the permissions here. You can see the permissions for the users here. Okay, and the permissions under user for the Tryhackme WinFont 2 is full control. Not full control is not there. We have read and execute, and then we have list folder contents, and then we have read. Okay, and now let's refer to the Microsoft documentation to get a better understanding of the NTFS permissions for special permissions. All right, another feature of NTFS is alternate data streams, ADS. The alternate data stream ADS is a file attribute specific to Windows NTFS, new technology file system, NTFS of course. Every file has at least one data stream, which is data, and ADS allows files to contain more than one stream of data. Natively, Windows Explorer doesn't display ADS to the user. They are third-party executables that can be used to view this data, but PowerShell gives you the ability to view ADS for files. Okay, now from a security perspective, malware writers have used ADS to hide data. Okay, and not all its uses are malicious. For example, when you download a file from the internet, there are identifiers written to ADS to identify that the file was downloaded from the internet. And to learn more about ADS, you refer to the following link from Malwarebytes. Malwarebytes here. Bonus: if you wish to interact hands-on with ADS, I suggest exploring day 21 of the Advent of Cyber 2. Now, what is the meaning of NTFS? We have this as new technology file system. New technology file system. Hit enter and we head straight to task 5. Over here on task 5, we are treating the Windows/System32 folders. Now the Windows folder C Windows, basically where we are, cancel, which is here, which is C/Windows. Let's click here to go into see Windows here. Okay, now it's traditionally known as the folder which contains the Windows operating system. Okay, now the folder doesn't have to reside in the C drives necessarily. It can reside in any other drive, and technically can reside in a different folder. Okay, now this is where environment variables, more specifically system environment variables come into play. Now, even though not discussed yet, the system environment variable for the Windows directory is WinDRA, with covering these percentage icons, both front and back. WinDRA, this is actually the variable for the Windows directory. Okay, now per Microsoft, environment variables store information about the operating system environment. This information includes details such as the operating system path, the number of processors used by the operating system, and the location of the temporal folder. Okay, now there are many folders within the Windows folder. See below. So if I click on Windows here, I believe we'll be able to see a lot of folders here. Okay, a lot of folders here. Okay, now one of the many folders is System32. Scroll down a little bit, I believe. So I just saw it. System32. Okay, System32 over here. Okay, System32. Now the System32 folder holds the important files that are critical for the operating system. Now you should proceed with extreme caution when interacting with this folder. Accidentally deleting any files or folders within System32 can render the Windows OS inoperational. Wow. Now read more about these actions here. Now note, many of the tools that will be covered in the Windows Fundamental series reside within the System32 folder. Now, what is the system variable for the Windows folder? That is WinDRA. Remember that, because it was basically Is that Windra or Windra? Let me see if that works. Windra. Okay, I have to go back to see how it was spelled. Oh, Wind DIR, not Windra. This one is a software for unzipping files. So Wind DIR. What? Looks like I did. Let me copy that. Wait. What's this? This is the environment variable. What's the question? What is the system variable for the Windows folder? Oh, correct. So yeah, I wasn't typing it correctly before. All right, let's head on to task 6 quickly. All right, here over in task 6, user accounts, profiles, and permissions. Now, user accounts can be one of the two types on a typical local Windows system, which is can be one of two types. So it's either administrator or standard user. Now, the user account type will determine what actions the user can perform on that specific Windows system. Now, an administrator can make changes to the system, add users, delete users, modify groups, modify settings on the system, etc. Now, a standard user can only make changes to folders, files attributed to the user and can't perform system level changes such as install programs. Now, you are currently logged in as an administrator, which means you can do a lot of things. There are several ways to determine which user accounts exist on the system. Now, one way is to click on the start menu and type other user. A shortcut to system settings and other users should appear. So over here, if we type in other users, we see this. If we click on this, it will take us to we can see here we have Tryhackme as probably another other users here. Okay, now if you click on it, a systems window should appear. See below other users. I believe they will access this question, that's why it's redacted. Now, since you are an administrator, you are the administrator, you see an option to add someone else to the PC, which is click here. And note, a standard user will not see this option. Click on the local user account, more options should appear. Change account type and remove. If I click here, okay, change account type and remove. Okay, now click on change account type. The value in the drop down box or the highlighted value, if you click the drop down, is the current account type. So if you click on change account type, if we see what we see here is standard user. Okay, cancel. Now, when a user account is created, a profile is created for the user. Okay, the location for each user profile folder will fall under his the location for each user profile folder will fall under his C user, C forward slash, that's the folder. Wait, folder. Yeah. Now, for example, the user profile folder for the user account max will be C forward slash users then max. Now, the creation of the user's profile is done upon initial login. Now, when a new user account logs into a local system for the first time, they will see several messages on the login screen. One of the messages, user profile service sits on the login screen for a while, which is at work creating the user profile. See below. Please wait for the user profile service. Okay. Now, once logged in, the user will see a dialog similar to one below, indicating that the profile is in creation. Personalized settings, setting up personalized settings for Google Chrome and so on. Now, each user profile will have the same folders. A few of them are desktop, document downloads, music, pictures. Another way to access this information and then some is using that's the first one was through the Windows search button, and the other way is using local user and group management. Right click on the start menu and click run. Type losrmgr.mc. see below. Okay, if I type if I right click on the start menu, and then click run. Okay, and then type LSU loss, and that should be loss rmgr dot msc, loss r mgr dot msc. Okay, all right. Now note the run dialog box allows us to open items quickly. Now back to loss rmgr, you should see two folders, users and group. Yes, if you click on groups, you will see all the names of local groups along the along with a brief description for each group. So let me see. Ooh, that's a lot. Now each group has permissions set to it, and users are assigned / added to groups by the administrator. When a user is assigned to a group, the user inherits the permissions of that group. A user can be assigned to multiple groups. Makes sense. Note, if you click on add someone else to this PC from other users, it will open local users and management. Okay. Alright, now let's answer this question. What's the name of the other user account? Of course, we've seen Tryhackme. What is the name of the other user account? It's the administrator. Administrator. No. If it's not that, then what is it? Oh, okay, see it here. Tryhackme Billy. I'm sorry, that's the full name. Tryhackme Billy. Correct. What group is this user a member of? Remote desktop service profile. No. They said, what group is this user a member of? I just member of remote desktop user and users. Okay. That is exactly, there is a command there, remote desktop users, and comma, the second is also a member of users. Enter. That should be it. What am I spelling correctly? Remote desktop DXK desktop. Should work now. Yeah. Wow, that took me a while. What built-in account is for guests access to the computer? What built-in account is for guests account? That should be users. No. Oh, groups. No. What built-in account is for guest access for the computer? Let me see if there's one for you. Guest. It's called guest. What is the account status? What account status? What account? Okay. What is the account status? I just gonna check the internet, or I'm going to check the previous answer I've used before, and but I don't know how it came about. So I need to know why. Let me see. I barely have time here. 15 minutes. Wow. Okay, so the answer is account is disabled, but I don't know how to get it. Account is disabled. I'm gonna check that later. No, disabled. All right, now that's correct. Let's quickly hit task 7. All right, on task 7 here we have user account control. Now the large majority of home users are logged into their Windows system as local administrators. Remember from the previous tasks that any user with administrator as the account type can make changes to the system. Yes, now a user doesn't need to run with high or elevated privileges on the system to run tasks that doesn't require such privileges, okay, such as surfing the internet, working on a Word document, etc. Now, these elevated privileges increase the risk of system compromise because it makes it easier for malware to infect the system. consequently, since the user account can make changes on the system, the malware would run in the context of the logged in user. Now, to protect the local user with such privileges, Microsoft introduced user account control (UAC). This concept was first introduced with the short-lived Windows Vista and continued with versions of Windows that followed. Now note, UAC by default doesn't apply for the built-in local administrator account. Now, how does UAC work? When a user with an account type of administrator logs into a system, the current section doesn't run with elevated permissions. Now, when an operation requiring high-level privileges needs to execute, the user will be prompted to confirm if they permit the operation to run. Now, let's look at the program or the account you're currently logged into. The built-in administrator account, right-click to view its properties. Now, in the security tab, we can see the user groups and their permissions to this file. Notice that the standard user is not listed over here, and yeah, okay, right. Previously, I believe if I had clicked on this, double-clicked and clicked, there's no detail, there's nothing else. So maybe that's why. To change permission, okay, yes, this particular one, okay. All right, now log in as a standard user and try to install this program. To do this, you can remove desktop into machine as the standard user account. Note, you have the username and password for the standard user. It's visible in the lusrm.msc. And now, before installing the program, notice the icon. Do you see the difference? When you're logged in as a standard user, the shield icon is on the program default icon. See below. Okay, it's showing here, but it's not showing. Let me see. Okay, the shield icon is on the program's default icon. If you're logged in as, okay, that's the difference. Alright, I'm running a low. Okay, now this shield icon is an indicator that UAC will prompt to allow high-level privileges to install the program. Okay, I see. 1, 2, okay. Alright, now double click the program and you see the UAC prompt. Notice that the built-in administrator account is already set as the username and prompts the account's password. See below. Do you want to allow this app to make changes to the computer? You have to compute that particular program in it. So after some time, if a password is not entered, the UAC prompt disappears and the program does not install. Now, this feature reduces the likelihood of malware successfully compromising your computer. You can read more about UAC here. So what does UAC mean? Let's go back here. The UAC, user account control. So user account control. And there we go. Tax 8. Let me see. Alright, let me see if I can quickly do this. Alright, in tax 8 here we are looking at settings and the control panel. On a Windows system, the primary location to make changes are the settings menu and the control panel. Now, for a long time, the control panel has been the go-to location to make system changes, such as adding a printer, uninstalling a program, etc. Now, the settings menu was introduced in Windows 8. The first Windows operating system catered to touchscreen tablets and is still available in Windows 10. As a matter of fact, the settings menu is now the primary location a user goes to if they are looking to change the system. Now, there are similarities and differences between the two menus. Below are the screenshot of each. Settings looks like this and control panel looks like this. Now, the icons of settings might be different from the version of Windows on the personalized device. Both are accessed from the start menu. Settings, you can go to control panel from the same place. Now, control panel is the menu where you will access more complex settings and perform more complex actions. In some cases, you can start in settings and end up in control panel. For example, in settings, if you click on network and internet, from here, click on change adapter options, and it will definitely just take you straight to control panel. All right, basically the settings here. All right, here. Now in the control panel, change the view to small icons. What is the last setting in the control panel? So I'll just go straight to control panel and hit control, enter here, and they want us to think the part where we're looking to reduce, change it to small icons is category small icons. Once I put it on small icons, I think this is what they were in control panel. Change the view to small icons. What is the last settings on the control panel view? Windows Defender Firewall. Okay, Windows Defender Firewall. Wow, it just went to taskbar. Let's quickly hit on taskbar, which is task 9, task manager. The last subject that will be touched on this module is the task manager. The task manager provides information about the applications and processes currently running in the system. Other information is also available, such as how CPU and RAM are being utilized, which falls under performance. You can access the task manager by right clicking on the taskbar. You hit on task manager, it will take you here. The task manager will open in simple view and won't show much information, just like you see here. Now click on more details and the view changes, and you will see something like this showing you basically information of what's running on the system. Now you can refer to this blog post for more details information about the task manager. If you wish to learn more about the core Windows processes and what each process is responsible for, visit the core Windows processes room. Okay, now what is the keyboard shortcut to open the task manager? The keyboard shortcut to open the task manager, let's quickly open, right click, click on task manager. What could possibly be the shortcut to open that? I have to check Google. Let's just see. That should be Googled. And Control Shift and Escape keys simultaneously. Wow, Control Shift and Escape. Let me see. Control Shift and Escape. What other one? Press and hold Control Shift and Escape. Control plus Shift plus Escape. I believe that should be what I need to type in here. Plus no, Control plus Shift plus Escape. Let me see if that works. Perfect. So that ends that. Lastly, conclusion. Again, this was a generic overview of the Windows OS. There are intermediate and advanced topics for each topic or task that was covered in this room. Hence, task 9 ended with a detailed blog post explaining the task manager in great details. In future modules, we'll cover topics like the Windows folder, the management console, security tools, where we'll talk about Windows Defender, Windows Firewalls, etc., to name a few. Now, read the above and terminate the window machine you deployed in this room. So we're just going to terminate the room, and we'll answer that last question here and that side. All right, thank you for studying with me. There were a couple of questions that I had to quickly check. The internet was really daunting for me, but thank you for studying with me, thank you for learning with me, and we're going to head on to the next video for Windows Fundamentals 2, and do have a nice day. Ciao.